What's going on, guys? Chris Warner here with Overtime Athletes, and for today's video, what I want to get into is discussing the 3 pillars of speed development. As you know, my newest program, Athletic Speed System, is launched, and what I want to do to be able to give value and give back to you guys is essentially go over what the parameters of that program is and what I focus on with an athlete in off season, whether it be baseball, basketball, football, rugby, soccer. There's a few things that I focus on in the off season to get the most bang for your buck and ultimately reduce that time on that stopwatch, and that will translate over to their sport. So going through these 3 pillars, number 1, we have relative force production. Number 2, we have acceleration mechanics. And number 3, we have top speed mechanics. Number 3, let's get into top speed mechanics. All right, so for our 3rd pillar of speed development, we'll get into top speed mechanics, or what we also deem maximum velocity mechanics. Now, if acceleration is how fast we can get to top speed and that particular motion of what's best to be able to get there, top speed is essentially the most efficient running form that we could produce when we're running and sprinting our fastest. By not being able to expend that much energy, we become more efficient, which will ultimately produce a faster sprint. Now, when considering top speed mechanics, we need to consider that there's essentially split into 2 halves. So if I was sprinting, what you would do is you would cut my body down the middle in the frontal plane. Anything that happens in the front side of my body would be considered front side mechanics, which is essentially the drive phase and touchdown of the actual foot. And anything that happens in the back side of my body would essentially be deemed recovery phase, which is basically that swooping motion in the back of my leg and the actual takeoff of my foot from that ground contact. Now, what we're trying to achieve here in developing speed is every athlete's different, but we're trying to produce the most efficient motion for each athlete. So what that looks like in front side is basically being able to shift more to front side or touch down in the front side, having a high enough knee to be able to essentially have a good drive phase without the lower limb extending. And then in backside, what we're trying to achieve is essentially triple flexion as fast as we can, so we don't have that long, slow takeoff, which actually revolves mostly around relative force in the backside, but also being able to have a faster motion in that recovery phase and not a slow one when you're coming through triple flexion. So to break this down into more simple terms, we're trying to drill certain mechanics here and certain drills so that we can achieve a better pattern through top speed mechanics that ultimately makes the athlete more efficient, spend less energy, and be able to put them in a better position to produce more force. Now, if you're interested in a full, complete program going over and utilizing these 3 pillars of speed development, go ahead and check out the link down below for my newest program, Athletic Speed System. See you guys later.